Hey, folks, and good afternoon. It's Captain Chandler with your police department and with our Community Connection Live update, which is an update where your police department comes to the community, try once a week to talk about the past 7 days. And in these past 7 days, we had a tornado impact our community, really in the Chandler Point subdivision up through Willoughby Station. Many of our neighbors and residents were impacted by this storm. So I really wanted this live update to be geared towards recovery and information to help those who may need help, whether it's with cleanup or financial assistance. Maybe they need an extra place to stay. And so I have called on Recovery Wilson and Regina Girton, who represents Recovery Wilson today, and all of our different organizations, our churches who are affiliated with that. Her full-time job is she's the pastor of outreach at Providence Church down in the Providence area. We're just so grateful that she could join us today and really talk about recovery and crisis cleanup for our residents. So, Regina, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Captain Chandler, for having me. The thing that we learned most certainly after the tornado in March of 2020 is just that recovery takes on many different layers. There's the most immediate needs, and then there are needs that come about over time as you continue to journey through seeking to reach full recovery for you in your home. And so certainly this was thankfully not nearly as damaging as the storms in 2020. However, there still were a substantial amount of homes who had a good amount of damage, and we want to make sure that our community members know how they can seek assistance. So Recover Wilson has several community members and organizations and natural disaster organizations who are keeping a pulse on the needs that are coming in. And so we want to make sure that folks know how they can seek that assistance.
Yeah, very good. And y'all were, instrumental during the March 2020 tornado. We had a lot of residents that needed assistance, and y'all went out and did cleanups. Y'all met with residents one-on-one. Y'all provided, funding. Y'all provided housing in those needs. And we're thankful that this past storm, it was a lot less, but still residents are impacted, and we really need to get that information out there on how folks can get help, because they may not know what help is available. And so if I was hit by the tornado in my home and I had a lot of cleanup needs, what is a resource for residents if they need help with cleanup?
Yes. So what we are looking to do, Recover Wilson met early this past week, and we are recommending that folks who potentially have needs in the most immediate sense call into a website called the Crisis Cleanup Helpline. You can call in. That number is 1-800-451-1954. And they will collect your information. They will create a project, and then that will post on that website. And then vetted natural disaster organizations can claim those jobs. We also have local outreach directors like myself and the local good coordinator at Crosspoint Church who are keeping a pulse on those needs so that we can claim them should those natural disaster organizations not be able to claim them at this time. And we'll get local volunteers or organizations to be able to meet those particular needs.
Gotcha. So that's good. So basically, if I need to clean up, I call this number, go to that website, create that project, and hope that one of these local natural disaster help organizations, they reach out and they offer their assistance to come do the cleanup.
Yes, correct.
Okay, good.
And we also are reaching out to a couple of natural disaster organizations who are going to be surveying the needs of the community for the long-term sense. So with this particular storm, there was a lot of tree downfall that happened. And it's going to require professionals as opposed to your regular community member with a chainsaw to come to you. And so we are working with those folks at this time to assess if they are able to go ahead and meet those needs. But I would still suggest that folks go ahead and register with Crisis Cleanup so that we are able to keep a pulse on what those needs look like.
Okay, very cool. And is the Wilson County Mayor's Office helping y'all? I understand. What are they helping with?
Yes. So if you are seeing that you have long-term needs, go ahead and reach out to the Wilson County Mayor's Office. Randall Hutto is working with our organization so that he can resource you guys to our group. And we are all working together to ensure that we can meet all of our community members' needs.
Okay, very cool. And then an informational meeting is scheduled for next week that I think y'all just planned this morning, which people can come out to y'all and to get firsthand knowledge on what the help is out there.
Correct. It's
Good.
been brought to our attention that there are several people who, in the after the dust has settled, as it were, are beginning to wonder what are next steps. Where do we go? Obviously, many people have insurance. However, insurance doesn't always cover everything. Potentially, there are questions that are coming to your mind as you are walking through all of those differing steps. So, we would love for folks who have been affected by the storm to meet us at Providence Church on Tuesday at 6:30, and we would love to be able to seek to answer some of those questions. And additionally, we'll just go ahead at that time and take a pulse of what the needs are of the community so that we are able to go ahead and seek to reach out to the resources that would be available to us.
Okay, very, very cool. Folks, if you have a question, maybe regards to recovery, type that in the comments, and Regina and I can try to answer those. I want to knock out Regina's portion early on in this broadcast so she can go about her day, but we also want to capture any questions that you may have. So just type that in the comments if you have anything. I see something here from Angie Emberton. She says, thank you so much for this info. She has she has a home in Chandler Point with a lot of trees down in the front and back of the home. And that's so true for many of our residents in that path of the tornado. Is a lot of trees are down and a lot of cosmetic damage to their home. And even some homes aren't even livable. But we're just thankful that there was no serious injuries or loss of life in this storm. And of course, our prayers go out to everyone impacted across the region, Kentucky. Those images out of Kentucky are just so heartbreaking.
Our community was so was spared in many regards, and also I know that sometimes even trees down in your home can be that thing that sets you over the edge financially. So we want to make sure that the quality of life in Wilson County continues to stay not only where it is, but continues to seek resiliency. And so know that you're not alone and that there is help available to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, if there's anything y'all need whatsoever, just please, reach out to me, our police department. I'll put you in contact with Regina. We'll get you the resources that you need. But you have a meeting coming up, and Julie just chimed in. Where's the meeting? She just got on. So Julie, it's next Tuesday, December 21st, 6:30 at Providence Church, which is on South Rutland Road, just across from Del Webb. And Regina, I'm sure you're going to be there, right?
Yes, I will be there.
Okay,
I'll facilitate the meeting. Yes.
Cool. So Julie, you'll get to go and you'll see Regina there to help you out there.
Thank you, Officer Chandler, and thank you to all of our first responders. We're really, really grateful and blessed to have you guys as leaders in our community.
Yeah, really appreciate you, and thanks for taking some time out of your day to get this information out. And I think we got most of the stuff you wanted to get out, and hopefully if people still have questions, they'll reach out or come to the meeting next Tuesday.
Perfect. Thank you.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.
Right. Awesome, folks. I really appreciate Regina joining. She is an awesome resource for our community, her and Providence Church, Pastor Armstrong down there and all of his staff and everyone of our faith-based community was really involved when we had our March 2020 tornado, and they really took the issues that we had, all the different impacts and damages in our community. They took that and just took on this project to help us out as a city tremendously to ensure it was well organized. And when the federal government showed up to help, they were surprised by all the progress that we made. And we made this progress because of the help of our community, the help of people like Regina and the team that she had. And other names that come to mind, Candy McElhaney was helping her, and Commissioner Ray Justice was involved in that cleanup effort in March of 2020. And so when we have these storms now, we have this template of people and resources we can go to get help for our community. And we want folks out there, if you need help, please reach out. Don't think that you're going to be a bother by any means. We are here to help whomever needs help, and we just want to take care of our community as best as possible. So Rich, of course, is not joining us. He is off later today, and he was disappointed that he could not be here for the live update this afternoon, but it's just me with the weekly update, so bear with me. Rich, if you're watching, we miss you, but this weekly update will be December 9th through December 15th, and you can see our police calls for service. We had 879 and 66 fire department calls for service. All these are a little bit higher because it's related to a lot of the storm responses that we had. Crime reports remain at 20. Arrest charges 56. Our officers made 328 traffic stops. They're out there looking for bad driving behavior, making those stops. Out of that, only 161 citations were issued. That is almost at 50%. And out of the crashes, they're a little bit lower, which is nice to see. 27 non-injury crashes, and there were 5 injury crashes. On your crime reports, there were 7 theft reports for property damage, some fraud, a burglary to a vehicle, and 1 residential, 2 family disturbances, and those are kind of like domestic issues, and 1 extortion and 1 harassment report done. You can see those theft reports there. Those are related to a car burglary group that entered our community in a stolen vehicle. We got the Guardian Shield alert early Tuesday morning at about 12:30 in the morning, and our officers began to go look for this vehicle and occupants and suspects who were out committing car burglaries. They were in the Willoughby Station area, Hickory Hills area, and we eventually found them after an additional Guardian Shield hit in the Nicholsville neighborhood. That's where our officers intercepted these suspects, and during the interception, they fled from our officers, and our officers got in pursuit. At the time, we were not aware of the vehicle burglaries, and we terminated that pursuit because the speeds just got too dangerous, and it was entering Nashville. We knew they were leaving the city limits, and our officers just stopped chasing. But one officer continued to drive, dropped his speed, turned off his blue lights and siren, and just drove towards the county line and saw this suspect vehicle wrecked on the side of the roadway, where the driver lost control and the occupants fled on foot running into Nashville. And of course, we were not hot on that trail because it was a delay once the officer found the crashed vehicle, and we weren't able to give chase on those suspects. But in the car was a lot of stolen items, which were stolen from these vehicle burglaries, and our officers began to connect the stolen items with the victims who had that stolen from them. But we're just grateful. It shows that Guardian Shield helped in this circumstance because it alerted us that we had a criminal element in our community. Of course, we didn't know what they were doing, but we were out searching for this criminal element. And when we intercepted it, we stopped more crime from occurring, and they fled. Of course, we would like to always apprehend the suspect, but sometimes it just gets too dangerous to chase, and it's just not worth the risk to continue to chase at certain speeds. And that's why our supervisor that evening terminated that pursuit because we knew they were no longer in the community. Folks, I know I've seen some good comments about people were very appreciative of having their stolen items returned to them in the Hickory Hills, Willoughby Station area. And we're just grateful we could intercept those suspects before they could commit more crime. On the arrest charges, of course, always on top is a proactive activity type arrest. You're 14, driving on suspended, revoked. Of course, no driver's license, simple possession of drugs and warrants. We had 2 shopliftings, DUI, theft of property, a resisting arrest, and then it just goes on down below that. But your officers are very active. Typically, we see more proactivity, which is on top than the reactive type behavior. On neighborhood school zone traffic enforcement efforts, that team made 47 stops, issued 28 citations. There was 1 arrest out of that. On the screen, you can see where they focused. Of course, in a lot of our residential areas, our school zones, and a little bit on Golden Bear Gateway on the north side of Golden Bear Gateway, where it's down 2 lanes and 35 miles per hour. That's where they spend a lot of time. And Guardian Shield, of course, on the counts, we're at 102 stolen cars recovered off of Guardian Shield. So this past 7 days, they recovered 2 stolen vehicles and 1 stolen plate. And don't forget, this Saturday is the Christmas parade. It starts at 3 o'clock. The road closure begins at 2:45 in the afternoon, and that road closure will be Lebanon Road to Park Glen, from Mount Juliet Road to Park Glen, and then it'll be Mount Juliet Road from Lebanon Road down to Division Street, and then Division Street from Mount Juliet Road down to Clemens Road will be the closure during that time period. And of course, all the roads are not going to be closed for the full duration of the parade, because as the back of the parade passes intersections, everything behind that parade opens up. It's kind of like a rolling reopening of the roadways, right? So the Lebanon Road section will be closed probably about 30 to 45 minutes. Mount Juliet Road will be closed, likely the longest, probably about an hour and 15 minutes is what we are thinking. And then, of course, Division Street will be closed a short period of time once the parade hits it. And it'll probably be closed about 30 to 45 minutes in that section. But, if you're not coming to the parade, I would avoid the north end of Mount Juliet from 2:45 to about 4:15 in the afternoon. Parade staging will be happening at the Little League ball fields, Mount Juliet League fields, from noon to 2 p.m. They'll do float judging at 2 p.m. to 2:15. There will be a moment of silence for Rowan Frinsley at 2:45, and then our road closures will begin shortly after that, and a parade starts at 3 o'clock. So hope to see a bunch of you out there. Myself, the chief, and members of our command staff, a lot of our officers, and our special response team will all be in the parade. Chief drives a silver Dodge Durango. I'm in a black Dodge Durango. So if you see us out and about, wave at us. I think we'll be giving out candy as well. We have about 6,900 dum-dums to hand out. And our goal is to get all 6,900 dum-dums handed out for all the kids to enjoy. So we're hoping for good weather, maybe a little bit rainy. Let's hope it's not rainy during the parade. But again, it's the weather in Tennessee, and it's very unpredictable sometimes. So we'll see what we get to deal with. But folks, we like these updates to always be interactive. If you have anything, any question whatsoever about anything this week, please type that in the comments, and I'll be glad to get to it. All right, got Janice with a comment here. It says Guardian Shield is awesome, as is our MJPD. Metro needs to keep it for the rest of the neighborhood areas safer. A lot of people have that opinion, that comment on our stuff. But again, it's up to the individual community if they support a program like this. And if the community itself does not have the support for a license plate recognition program, then it's probably not going to be successful. We're just thankful that we have the support of our community who support our police officers and who support our program. So we're going to do everything we can to maintain that trust. We're not perfect by any means, but we're going to do, again, work hard, have that commitment, and do what we can to keep the trust of our community. Georgina with a comment. She's seen MJPD down at the Rutland Elementary School Zone. So glad you've seen him out there, Georgina. Always good. And John Cody with any info share on the emergency on Oxford Drive today. So, John, I don't have any details on that, but the good thing is it didn't reach to the emergency that they needed to let us know about it as a command staff. It could have been a medical type emergency, but I'll look into it after this and we'll see exactly what it is. And in fact, if you give me a moment, let me see if I can just check with you right now. We need to be done by about 3:30, so I got about 3 minutes left. After this live update, our city manager and PIO Justin Beasley with the city is doing the city manager live update. So hopefully that'll be a great update. I think our city manager is going to give a message to the community about the tornado, and Justin will be able to go into more details on just the city response in general. I think we have some new businesses opening up today, and it should be a great thing. Let's see here. Okay, so on that question on Oxford Drive, unfortunately, that was a medical call, John, and again, no concern for public safety out of that. Everything was isolated at the home related to that medical. I'm glad I could look that up for you real quick. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining this. Again, we appreciate Regina jumping in and helping us with the live broadcast today to give some information on recovery options for our community who is impacted by the tornado. And just remember, informational meeting that you can go to get some more information on recovery. It'll be at Providence Church next Tuesday, December 21st at 6:30 p.m. And we're just grateful for Providence Church, all the organizations involved. Everyone's Wilson, Recovery Wilson. I can continue to name off people and organizations that have a heart and care for our wonderful community. So, folks, as always, it's such an honor and privilege to serve this wonderful community. It's the best career ever. As someone who grew up in Mount Juliet, I'm just so proud to call Mount Juliet home because of all the great, wonderful people who live here and make it great. It truly is a great community. And it's just an awesome place to live and raise your family, right? So, folks, have a wonderful weekend. Be kind to someone this weekend. Always try to be kind and try to help someone who may need a little extra help. And we'll likely see you next week early before the Christmas holiday. That's it. Be safe, everyone. See you soon.